Hello class, I want to talk a little bit about your report 1. On this page you see a list of concepts that you are working with. You are in analysis phase, you are working on requirements, you have read about use cases, you're doing a little bit of process modeling. In the book they talk about activity diagrams and system sequence diagrams. You have been doing microflows. You've been doing a little bit of domain modeling. You right now have one entity and you're going to evolve that domain model very soon. You've been thinking about the stakeholders. That's the picture you see on the right corner. Stakeholders, those people who have a stake in your projects, they are a broader group than what we consider users of the system. But so far, because our project doesn't have a real client associated with it, we're working mainly with the users. So you've been defining roles and those are different users. But in general, stakeholders are any group of people who have a stake in your project. They could be CEOs of companies, they could be legal partners. At the bottom of this page you see themes of information gathering that should happen in the analysis phase, and in those efforts you also focus on 3 things. What to do, those are your requirements. How to do it, those are your processes. And what data should be saved, should be entered, should be reported. And that's your data or domain model. Now I'm going to talk about report 1. This is what I have on the document I have shared with you. There are 4 items that are required. First one is user stories. That's another way of documenting requirements. You've been reading about use cases, you know what features are. Those are the pages and buttons and links and all the widgets that you're using in your project. What we want you to do just to formulate them in a way that is commonly used in the workplace. Number 2 is the roles and what they can do with your data entities. What we call a CRUD table, who can do create, read, update or delete. Number 3 is your domain model, and number 4 is your microflow. So we're covering requirements, processes, domain modeling and roles in this report. So look at the first one. This is the first one. This is one way of formulating user stories. As a role, I want a feature so I can achieve a goal. If I'm doing an app for parents and children, I would say as a parent, I want to see locations for each to-do item so that I can know where my kids are. And I want you to give me 2 examples of this. So take one of the features that already exist in my lab, guys, or if you add a new feature and you want to surprise me, talk about that. Just document that here. Number 2 is talking about CRUD table. CRUD table is used for many different reasons. One way is to use it for feature completeness. What we call a list of features on the left, and we put the data entities at the top, and we want to make sure each entity or class that exists in your application, there is at least one place or one feature or one role that can create instances of that class. There is at least one feature and one person, one place in which you can read, update or delete. Basically, you're thinking about the system as a data processing module. Yes, so if you have defined data pieces, somebody should be able to create them, and if you create them, somebody should be able to read them, update them when you need that update, and somebody should be able to delete or archive them. what we do in your project report 1 is we're using CRUD table to define access control. And this basically comes from your security. Most of you, to be exact, about 14 out of 20 of you have already done that. You work with security setting and I showed you how to do it. This is security in your module, and this is about entity access. And as you grow your domain model, you give different roles, different privileges, what they can do with each data entity. Can they create, can they delete, can they read or write, or a combination. So this is a project done by Mike, Bill, Ryan, and Andrew from spring 2019. I want to make sure I acknowledge their work. They had a child and a parent, and then they had a number of entities, and this is how they define access rights. Now, you would give me a snapshot from Mendix, and then you would explain it in English. Why did I give create rights to the parent and I didn't give that to child, or vice versa? So you would want to read, understand, and explain to me what you have done here. Number 3 is your domain model. It will grow. This is again a project by Mike, Bill, Andrew, and Ryan. So you want to talk about your entities. You want to talk about superclasses, subclasses, which you already have one if you started working on your lab 3. This is a subclass of system image. Image is an entity in system module, and you're inheriting from that entity. They have 2 other subclasses in their project, and they have a number of associations. What I want you to do, talk about those associations. Go ahead, read chapter 5 or 6, I believe. Talks about associations, one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-many. And then explain to me why you have defined those associations with those multiplicity information in your project. Then double click on each of your associations and tell me, are they mandatory or optional? Look here. This is a one-on-one association between a to-do and a to-do picture. If I delete to-do objects, their pictures will be automatically deleted. But if I delete a to-do picture associated with a to-do item, I still keep the to-do object. So we talk about mandatory versus optional associations. Based on this setting, we say that this association is mandatory for picture. Why? Because the picture cannot exist without being associated with a to-do item. But the association is, in fact, optional for to-do, because if the picture goes away, the to-do still exists. So it doesn't have to have that kind of relationship for a to-do item to exist in your system. They can exist without having any instance of that relationship. So you're going to double click on your association and you're going to give me that information. And then you're going to go to the list of microflows that you have. Look at these arrows. They look like this. These are all your microflows. And pick one of them. I pick this one and explain them in English. So here I start here. I create an empty to-do object. I call it new to-do. Create an empty to-do picture. I call it new TD picture. And then I go to my to-do and I change something about that to-do object. What do I change? There is an association about to-do objects. They can be associated with a picture. And I do that here. I go and I change that association for this to-do object, that one that I created, to be associated with this new TD picture. And then I send that object, or I pass that object to that page. So when you show that page, new edit form, you're passing a to-do object, which is empty. You're going to fill the information about that in that new form. But the nice thing is that that picture that you add in that new edit form will fill the empty object that is associated with that empty to-do that you are sending. So you're passing only one object but that object has an association with another empty object, and you're providing information about both of them in your new edit page. So that's all I wanted to say about your report 1. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.